I never meant to discover it. I was only using Emily's old phone, the one she tossed aside like it was nothing, when a notification flashed across the screen. A group chat I'd never seen. I opened it and my heart stopped. She's so pathetic. She'll always put us first, even when we treat her like trash. My mother's name, my sister's name, their words about me. I didn't cry, I didn't scream. Before I tell you what happened after that moment, tell me, where are you listening from? And honestly, what would you have done? Before that night, my life looked calm from the outside. Quiet streets, a small house in the suburbs, a family that smiled in pictures but never in the same room. I used to think that was normal. I used to convince myself everyone's home felt like walking on eggshells. I grew up learning how to stay small. My mother liked it that way, said it made things easier. Emily, 3 years older and forever the star, filled every room the moment she walked in. She had the confidence my mother praised, the dreams my mother supported, the needs my mother prioritized without hesitation. And then there was me, Valentina, the one who cooked dinner after school, who handled the bills when Mom forgot who picked up Emily from parties because family shows up. I worked a full-time office job, but in that house I was still expected to be the overflow bucket for everyone else's mess. Funny thing is, I didn't see it as unfair, not at first. Kids grow into the roles they're handed, and mine was clear: keep the peace, stay useful, don't complain. So I did. I woke up early to pack lunches, cleaned the kitchen before work sent payments. Mom swore she'd pay back next week, and listened to Emily talk about dresses, bridesmaids venues, color palettes, everything she assumed I'd help fund. She'd say things like, "You know I can't do this without you," and Mom would echo, "Your sister's under a lot of pressure." But neither of them ever asked if I was. The worst part wasn't the work, it was the way they made me feel invisible while expecting me to hold everything together. I'd set dinner on the table, and Mom would critique the seasoning before she even tasted it. Emily would scroll through her phone mid-conversation, only looking up when she needed something. There was a moment last month, small, stupid, forgettable to them, that stuck to me like a bruise. I'd just come home from a 10-hour shift. My feet ached, my head throbbed, and all I wanted was to breathe. Instead, Mom handed me a list of errands for the wedding, and Emily chimed in, "Oh, and I need you to transfer the deposit for the venue tomorrow. It's easier if you handle it." No, please. No, is this okay? Just expectation, obligation, a role I was born into but never chose. Back then, I still believed their love was complicated, not conditional. I still wanted to belong to them, to be seen by them, to matter. But after reading that group chat, after seeing my name next to their laughter, everything I thought I knew about my place in this family cracked open. And what spilled out wasn't sadness, it was clarity. The kind that changes everything. The morning after reading that group chat, nothing looked different, but everything felt different. I moved through the house like a ghost who'd finally realized she was dead. Mom called my name from the kitchen, telling me to hurry because Emily needed help finalizing her wedding budget. I answered the same way I always did, coming, but the word felt hollow, detached, like it belonged to someone else. At breakfast, Emily complained about her florist overcharging her. Mom chimed in about how people take advantage of brides, and both of them glanced at me like I was the natural solution. I stirred my coffee, pretending I didn't feel the burn behind my eyes. Emily reached across the table, tapping her manicured nails against my mug. "You're still sending the venue deposit today, right? They said they can only hold the date until this afternoon." I forced a smile that didn't reach my eyes. "Yeah, I'll take care of it." She nodded, satisfied, never noticing the way my fingers tightened around the handle. The rest of the week was a blur of silent realizations. I watched them more closely than ever, like I was seeing a play I'd memorized, but never understood. Emily left her laundry on the couch, knowing I'd fold it. Mom asked for just a little help with her bills again. They expected, assumed, took, and each time their words from the group chat echoed in my mind like a slap. "She's so pathetic. She'll always put us first, even when we treat her like trash." They weren't venting. They weren't joking. They believed it. That was the part that hollowed me out. That Friday, I sat alone in my room after work, staring at my own reflection in the darkened window. The girl who looked back wasn't pathetic. She was tired, yes, hurt, but there was something simmering behind her eyes, something sharp, awake, alive, a spark of someone who had finally seen the truth. And then came the moment everything tipped. Emily barged into my room without knocking her phone in hand. "The venue's calling again. They still don't have the payment. Did you even send it?" I blinked slowly. "I thought I did." She scoffed. "Well, clearly you didn't. Can you do it now? Mom already told them you're handling it." That last sentence Mom already told them hit differently this time. It wasn't a request. It was an order arranged on my behalf without my consent, like always. In the hallway, I could hear Mom on the phone telling someone Valentina will take care of it. She always does. Always. Something inside me slid into place. Something final. I stood from the bed and Emily paused, sensing a shift. My voice was calm, steady in a way that surprised even me. "I'll look into it." Emily narrowed her eyes. "Can you be serious for once? This is my wedding." There it was again, that assumption that my life existed to cushion hers. But instead of reacting, I smiled. A small, careful smile that hid everything I knew. I said, "I'll take care of it." And she left satisfied. She had no idea what was coming, because in that moment I made a decision quiet, sharp, and irreversible. If they thought I'd always put them first, if they thought I'd keep carrying the weight they dumped on me, then I'd let them believe exactly that, just long enough for me to finally walk away. From the outside, nothing changed. I still woke before sunrise, still brewed coffee for 3, still packed my lunch in the same old container I'd used since high school. But inside, something had shifted quiet and irreversible. I became an observer in my own home. Every demand, every sigh, every Valentina, can you, registered differently now. Not as responsibility, as evidence. Mom called me into the living room one evening, waving a stack of bills she hadn't bothered opening. "Sort these out for me, sweetheart. I'm exhausted." I took them, but this time I didn't feel guilt. I felt distance. The kind that grows when you've finally seen someone without the mask they wear. Emily drifted in, plopping down beside Mom with a dramatic groan. "The bakery wants the cake payment by next week. You'll handle that too, right?" I nodded the way I always did, the perfect helper, the reliable buffer. But while they talked, I slipped my phone into my lap, checking the new bank account I'd opened that morning. My entire savings, years of skipped lunches, overtime shifts, holidays spent working instead of resting was already transferred. Safe. Finally, mine. That night, while Emily showered and Mom watched TV, I quietly pulled a small suitcase from under my bed. I folded only what mattered: work clothes, a sweater I bought on sale last winter, a framed photo taken before my family learned how to turn my worth into currency. Then I slid the suitcase back into the closet. Neither of them noticed. The next day during my lunch break, I signed the lease for a tiny apartment across town. The manager handed me the key and smiled. Fresh start, I nodded, and for the first time in years, the answer felt true. But the real fracture came 2 nights later. Emily stormed into my room, mascara-smudged hair in chaotic curls. The venue called again. They said, "If they don't get the payment tonight, the date's gone." "Why haven't you sent it?" I looked up from my laptop. "I thought Mom handled it." Emily's voice rose. "Are you kidding me?" "She told them you're doing it. You always do it." Mom appeared in the doorway, arms crossed. "We need that money, Valentina. Stop dragging your feet. Your sister's wedding can't fall apart because you're being emotional." Emotional. If only they knew. I closed my laptop gently. I said, "I'll take care of it." My tone must have thrown her off because Emily paused, confused for the first time. But Mom didn't see it. She just huffed and walked off, muttering about ungrateful children. I watched them go, my heartbeat steady. They still believed I was theirs, obedient, predictable, endlessly available. And that was exactly what I needed them to think. Just a little longer. The breaking point arrived on a Wednesday night, the kind where the air feels heavy even inside the house. I had just stepped through the door after work when I heard my name echo through the hallway. Valentina Emily's voice cracked, sharp, panicked, furious. I walked into the living room to find her pacing phone pressed to her ear, cheeks streaked with mascara. Mom stood beside her, arms folded, face tight with irritation rather than concern. "They just called. Again." Emily snapped as soon as she saw me. "The venue is releasing the date. They said the payment never came. You said you'd handle it." Mom jabbed a finger toward me. "Stop playing games. Send the money now. Your sister is falling apart." I set my bag down and met their eyes. Really met them. Emily looked desperate, in a way I'd never seen before. Not humble, not apologetic, desperate, because something she expected was slipping away. Mom, on the other hand, looked like she was watching her favorite tool malfunction. I took a breath. I don't have that money anymore. The room froze. Emily blinked. What? I kept my voice even. I don't have that money anymore. I used it. Silence wrapped around us, thick and electric. Mom stepped forward. Used it for what? For me. Emily's face twisted like she'd been slapped. You spent my wedding money on yourself. It was never yours, I said calmly. It was mine. Every hour, every overtime shift, every paycheck. Mine. Emily's voice rose to a shriek. Are you insane? I told everyone you'd cover the deposit. You promised I never promised. You demanded. Mom cut in her tone, venom soft. I didn't raise you to be selfish, I almost laughed. You didn't raise me at all, you just used me. Emily shook her head. Stop talking like this, you're just stressed. She grabbed my arm. We need that money. I pulled away. I'm not giving you anything. Her voice cracked. Valentina, this is my wedding and this is my life. Mom let out a sharp breath like she was finally done pretending. If you walk away now, don't expect anything from us again. No support, no family. That was the moment I realized she truly believed that was a threat. I'm not walking away, I said. I'm leaving. I picked up the suitcase from behind the couch, packed and ready for days now. Emily staggered back. You were planning this. Of course I was. I turned to Mom. What did you think would happen? That I'd read what you wrote about me and keep paying, keep serving, keep pretending? Emily's lower lip trembled. We didn't mean it like that. You meant every word. Mom's nostrils flared. If you go, you'll regret it. I looked at her, really looked. For the first time, her power didn't reach me. I already regret staying. I walked toward the door. Emily's voice cracked behind me. How could you do this to me? I didn't answer. I opened the door, rolled my suitcase through it, and left the house where I'd spent years shrinking myself small enough to fit inside their expectations. When the door clicked shut behind me, it felt like a lifetime finally ended. My new apartment was tiny, but stepping inside felt like stepping into oxygen. I slept without fear of someone banging on the door, asking for favors. I bought groceries, my groceries. I worked, came home, cooked whatever I wanted, and sat on the floor eating dinner in peace. Peace. The kind I had never tasted. The first week, Emily's texts poured in. You ruined everything. Are you happy now? You're heartless. Answer me. I blocked her. Then Mom emailed. I hope you're proud of yourself. You broke this family. I deleted it. Ho Hang chimed in next. She's devastated. Your mother can't sleep. Why are you doing this to them? I ignored every message until one from my cousin, the only one who ever treated me like a human being. I heard what happened. I'm proud of you. They never deserved what you gave. I sat with that message for a long time. Relief settled in my chest like something warm, something steady. 3 weeks later, I ran into Emily at a cafe downtown. She looked smaller somehow, eyes dull, posture slouched like she'd been existing in borrowed strength, and finally ran out. Her eyes widened when she saw me. Valentina. Can we talk? Her voice was so soft it almost didn't sound like her. For a split second, old habits tugged at me, the instinct to fix, to comfort, to step in. But those instincts belonged to the girl they called pathetic. I wasn't her anymore. I walked right past her, ordered my coffee, and left. When I glanced back through the window, she was still standing in the same spot, tears gathering, waiting for a version of me that no longer existed. The final confrontation came 4 days later, a hard, relentless knock on my apartment door. I knew that knock. I opened it just enough to see her mom arms crossed expression carved from stone. You look well, she said, but her eyes were full of accusation, not pride. What do you want? I asked. Let me in. No. Her jaw tightened. We need to talk. Then talk. Right there in the hallway, she tried every tactic she'd ever used. Guilt, anger, nostalgia, cold logic. But none of it reached me anymore. You owe us, she said finally. After everything we've done for you. I shook my head. You didn't do things for me. You took from me. And now I'm done. Her face crumpled not with sadness, but with the realization she no longer had control. I stepped back and closed the door. This time, the silence on the other side felt like victory. In the weeks that followed, something unexpected happened. Nothing. No more knocks on my door. No more guilt-laced messages. The silence that used to terrify me now felt like a blanket I'd never been allowed to touch. Word eventually reached me through the few relatives I hadn't blocked. Emily's wedding had fallen apart. The venue gave her date away, the vendors pulled out, and the stress cracked whatever confidence she'd always worn like armor. Mom, without me to manage her bills and crises, was drowning in responsibilities she used to toss onto my shoulders without a second thought. Meanwhile, my life felt lighter. I woke up without dread. I bought groceries without calculating who else needed something. I laughed with coworkers who liked me simply because I showed up and cared. I learned what quiet looked like when it wasn't filled with obligation. For the first time, my future felt like something I got to choose, not something assigned to me. And the more distance I had from them, the clearer it became. Losing them wasn't a tragedy. It was freedom. A month later, I saw them again, Mom and Emily sitting in a quiet cafe near downtown. They looked nothing like the women who once towered over my life. Emily's shoulders were slumped, eyes tired. Mom stared into her cup like it held the answer to everything she'd lost. They didn't notice me at first. When they finally did, their faces shifted, hope flickering, then fear, then something like regret. For a moment, I wondered if they expected me to walk over to save them the way I always had. But I wasn't theirs to lean on anymore. I gave them one small nod, acknowledgement, nothing more, then walked out into the bright afternoon. If you've ever had to choose yourself over the people who hurt you, tell me your story in the comments. And if this stayed with you, subscribe for the next one.